Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Harlan County community had to evacuate last night when a lake started to leak. And the Pike County Fiscal Court has now temporarily replaced an empty seat after a late resignation.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 5 a.m. on Thursday, February 15th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia, and good morning, everyone. Looks like some fog is trying to develop. Not as thick as what we saw yesterday morning developing at this time outside our studios here at WYMT 34 as of last check. And checking out the weather headlines this morning, good news. The Kentucky River continues to recede and should be below an action stage by the time we get into the afternoon. A risk of a shower this afternoon, but more noteworthy is the widespread rainfall coming into play as we head toward Friday afternoon, Friday evening. The question is, how does that transition to snow end up playing out into the overnight Saturday morning? Temperatures this morning, again, do vary depending on where you are in relation to your wind, too. 40 last check Jackson, again 34 here in Hazard. Got some clouds we're tracking coming up from the southwest. We're also tracking this system here. This is what's going to be responsible as we head for the afternoon, producing the shower. So needless to say, as we check out the 12-hour forecast for today, we average out to being partly sunny. We'll pick up the breeze a bit heading through the afternoon. That's when we run that risk of a shower. Highs upper 50s and close to 60. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast in a few moments. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. Several homes were evacuated in the Llewellyn community of Harlan County last night. Emergency crews say a privately owned lake is leaking. A shelter was opened at a nearby church at the Llewellyn Pentecostal Church for those impacted by the flooding. Harlan County Judge Executive Dan Mosley says they have declared a state of emergency following the leak at Lake Llewellyn. Officials say the solution is pumping the water into a ditch that runs into the Clover Fork.
We attempted initially to place a board that would cover the hole out into the water by using just a stick and literally trying to see if we could cover the hole to stop the water from coming out. It worked for a few minutes, but then the whirlpool started again.
The farmers are the owners of the one home in particular that received most, if not all, of the flooding. The solution is to help with their flooding was to cut the road to create a drain for all of the water pooling in front of their house. Administrators with Corbin Independent Schools say they have grief counselors available for students following a Whitley County crash that killed a 10-year-old. 2 people died in the crash Tuesday, including 10-year-old Drake Sutherland. Police say the crash happened across from the Bee Creek Market on Bee Creek Road. Police also say another child was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. In Pulaski County, a former office manager for Kentucky Economic Development Group pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Lisa Gadberry pleaded guilty after she was found to have spent company money on her finances. The Lexington Herald Leader reports Gadberry was federally charged with 1 count of wire fraud for misspending $142,000 from the agency over 5 years. Gadberry's plea agreement alleges she used the company's credit card on personal expenses between 2015 to 2019. Gadberry has not been sentenced. The Pike County Fiscal Court just filled an empty seat left behind when a commissioner resigned at the end of last month. Commissioner Orville Blackburn resigned effective January 31st for health reasons, which left an empty seat for the county's District 3 commissioner. Governor Andy Beshear signed an executive order Wednesday naming Pike County Minister Jim Abshire as the temporary commissioner who will serve until a special election in November.
The local Pike County Republican Executive Committee and the Democratic Executive Committee will choose candidates from the respective parties to run in that special election.
Judge Executive Ray Jones says District 3 will continue to be in good hands and Abshire will serve the county well in the interim. Lawmakers are proposing a new bill that would make it easier for coroners to cremate people who do not have the resources to pay for it. Coroners say that cremating unclaimed or unidentified bodies would be easier and cheaper than performing burials. The bill does not require that bodies of indigenous people be cremated, but it will be the decision between burial and cremation on the government paying for the process. Officials say indigenous burials have become more common in recent years, and taxpayers are the ones bearing the cost. The bill unanimously passed through a committee and now goes to the full Senate. A House Education Committee approved a bill that would benefit Eastern Kentucky University. They passed House Bill 407. It would allow EKU to offer medical degrees for practice and licensure in osteopathic medicine. We first told you about this last month. EKU would be the first public college in the state to give out the degree. Leaders say the program would help alleviate the shortage of healthcare providers in the state. A bill that would limit how many sick days teachers can cash out upon retirement is moving forward. Senate Bill 4 passed the Senate 24-12 yesterday. That was some Republican opposition to the bill. It now goes on to the House. And thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we return, a Lexington school let their students spread the love for Valentine's Day with a welcoming community.
And weather-wise, as we rock and roll through a Thursday morning, we're tracking this system coming in from the north and west. We'll time this out for today. Something more noteworthy, though, heading into tomorrow night. Details with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up.